Hey everyone, welcome back. Blades of God here from Hammer Bros Gaming. Today we're going to be finishing up our Epic Tier 3 Engineer Achievement Guide for the original Deadspace. This is a no exploits, no cheats guide, and this is part 12, chapter 12. We are on the last level. Alright, so as soon as we come out of the shuttle, we are going to come down the ramp and head to the right. There's no enemies to fight in this section yet, so we're just going to run around the entire area and gather up any supplies that are available. While I'm doing that on the screen, I'm just going to let you know if this is the first guide in the series that you've seen, this is not going to be telling you how to do basic functions of the game such as stomp or switch weapons or anything like that. This is a survival guide that tells you what I do to get through certain combat situations and set myself up for success. So as you can see, I came into this little side room. It's the only room you can get into at this point, and before I do anything else, I stomp all the bodies, break the arms and legs off, because in that room to the right of where you entered, there are two what I call reanimators. They're the enemy type that will grab onto any corpses and turn them into necromorphs. So if you break apart the bodies before they come out of that room, then you're going to have fewer enemies to fight. I slowed down the footage here for the store just so you could see how many credits I have. Basically, I'm only running two guns in this run, the pulse rifle and the plasma cutter. And you can see I've got quite a few med packs on hand, plenty of stacks of ammunition for both weapons, and a stasis pack. I run over to the bench here. I have 5 power nodes on me, so I'm going to use 4 of them, or up to 4 of them, to upgrade the remainder of my equipment. You'll see that with this node here, I have now upgraded everything I have to the maximum. Still have 2 power nodes on my person. As a rule, I always keep a minimum of 1 power node on me, just so I can access any of the supply rooms that require a power node to get into. Alright, so after we visit the bench, there's a door right next to the bench that you can go through to get a few more supplies. I run back to the store, sell off the stuff that I don't need, either the ammo that doesn't fit my guns or semiconductors or anything like that. Once you're ready, come over to the store, open her up. There's going to be two, like I said, 2 of the transformer or the reanimator type enemies in this room. Once you take them out, I just lay into them with the pulse rifle, no need to get fancy. Grab the battery, you're going to come back out through the door we first came into this room from, and then immediately turn to the right. You're going to have what I call a snake man. Again, I know that's not the canon name, but that's what I call him. He's going to be coming at you from the right. So shoot him in the leg until he drops, and then he'll fall apart. And I know I have plenty of ammunition, plenty of credits, so I'm not being too conservative with my ammo use here. And I just sort of lay into him with the pulse rifle. You can see I'm checking right now, see everything was dead. I still have 1 moving around. 2 moving around apparently, and just taking my time, no need to rush, there's no other enemies in this area. Once the snake man's down, plug in that battery, you're going to get the objective complete notification. I'm going to come in and save, just because it doesn't hurt to save your progress while you have a save point. We are on impossible difficulty, so yeah. Anyway, oh, that's right, I had to stop playing. Alright, so when I reloaded my game, the bodies had respawned, and I broke them apart just to be on the safe side. Okay, that's why. Haha. Anyway, so once you have completed the objective of putting that battery back in to power up the bridge, you're going to pull this tram using your kinesis all the way over to the ship and load the marker on it. I thought that I got jumped, or I thought there was a combat scenario here, so I kind of put myself in a corner anticipating enemies coming at me, but none of them showed up. So not a big deal. We're going to continue to pull the marker on this little trolley over to this, I guess almost like a conveyor system. Go through the door and activate the control panel to bring the doors up. Then you can pull the marker through, activate the panel again to open the door, and pull the marker into the next room. You can see right where that first control panel was, there was some ammo on the ground in the, I don't know what you want to call it, the fissure. So I used my kinesis to pull that up. Alright, this room, there's quite a big brawl in. So what I do is basically, you want to keep your back to a wall as much as you can. The enemies tend to drop in from multiple places. You can see this necromorph literally dropped in on top of me and grabbed me immediately. So this is one of the reasons that it is very important to keep plenty of med packs and plenty of ammo on you. These are the darker, more powerful versions of the standard necromorphs. They take more damage to kill, and they deal out more damage. You can see I just looked up at a vent. Those vents are where enemies can drop in at you. So kind of keep your back, like I said, keep your back to a wall, keep an eye on the entire map. I get sort of tunnel vision here trying to kill these enemies. There's a standard necromorph and a lurker coming at me. Lurker's pretty easy to take out, wait till their tentacles pop up and then shoot them. I got blindsided by this lurker, which is what you saw me take the hit. Another necromorph drops in, and you saw I just used a blast of stasis. There are stasis recharge pods, or recharge stations, in this room, so go ahead and use stasis. It is your friend, it's going to buy you time. You are severely, severely outnumbered and surrounded here, so don't be afraid to use the stasis. Again, I got grabbed because another lurker dropped in behind me. I can see that there's enemies right to my right, so I immediately, as soon as I get out of that grab attack, I back off to the left to buy myself some space, and then instead of shooting at the arms or legs of the enemies, I target the weak spot of that, what I call a walking grenade. Its explosion actually took out the, I believe it was a lurker right next to it, and those are really good for helping clear out groups of enemies if you can bunch them together. So again, you see here, I am just kind of laying into these enemies. I know I have plenty of ammunition on me, so I switched to my pulse rifle. One of the great things about the pulse rifle is that it's really good at slowing down enemies and sort of crowd control, because you can see with that necromorph, it just pushed him way back as I hit him. So usually I preach to be very conservative with your shots and to sort of do short controlled bursts to make sure you're hitting the limbs. But since we're on the last level, and again, I know I have plenty of credits and plenty of ammunition, I just go ahead and lay into these guys with the pulse rifle to buy myself space and time. So you're going to get a little bit of breathing room. If you stay on that those first two platforms, you're not going to continue to get jumped by enemies. Once you clear these out, I come way down here, I put a power node into that wall so I can activate that safe room. You won't get jumped by enemies until you move this marker up again. You're going to go through, I believe it's 2 bridges before more enemies spawn. So you'll see, I think it's right here. Once I get the marker past that bridge. Yep, I had another lurker drop in from that vent, and a couple more enemies as well. So it's just, you know, standard fare at this point. The enemies are going to keep coming at you. You've got to put your back to a wall so you don't get surrounded. Back here is actually a fairly safe place because you can spot the 2 vents and all the enemies drop on the other side of the room, and they have to cross that bridge to get to you. So it kind of makes a good choke point. I didn't really use it. I kind of just was taking my shots across that gap, but that's works just fine too. I mean, if you've got the ammo, go ahead, keep them at a distance. So I moved the marker through the last bridge, the last raisable section. You can see I have a whole bunch of these walking grenades spawn in. This, I believe, is the last wave of enemies in this room. So once you take out all of these grenades, I believe there's 4 of them, you can go into that safe room that we unlocked using a power node. And another reason you don't have to worry about burning ammunition in this fight is because this next the next room with the power that you use the power node to unlock is going to have a ton of ammunition in it. And since I'm only using 2 weapons, it's going to almost all be pulse rifle. I think it actually all is pulse rifle and plasma cutter. Yep. You can see here, I'm checking my inventory. It's filled right up. I got a couple of things that aren't compatible with my gun, so I dropped those. And because, you know, years of playing games says don't leave anything behind, I use a med pack or a stasis pack to free up room in my inventory so I can take absolutely everything with me. And we're moving on to the next room. We pull the marker through the next sort of airlock area, activate the command console, and we're into the next room. Alright, so in here we're going to be fighting a couple different enemies. We've got 2 wall huggers that spawn these pods. Use this pillar for cover. They can't launch their pods at an angle, so they can a little bit, but not so far as they're going to be able to surround you here. So all I do is I use this pillar for cover, get an angle on the closest wall hugger, aim for its tentacles. I find the plasma cutters far more effective than the pulse rifle to take these enemies out. If you see one of the little pods land in your field of view, you want to prioritize that because they will be able to hit you. But by and large, once the wall huggers spawn a certain number of pods, they stop popping them out, which you can kind of see now. That one's just got tentacles that are popping out and grabbing the wall. So take them out one at a time. I mean, there's no rush here. You're not under any pressure from any other enemies. So make your shots count. and you can see he just popped one very diagonally, but easy enough to take out that pod. One thing you do want to note is with these pods, as soon as you can't really hit the tentacle as soon as it sprouts. You got to wait for it to fully emerge before it becomes vulnerable. Once both wall huggers are down, you're not going to have any more pods spawning. Work your way around this pillar very slowly. Take out the tentacles one at a time. Their range attack does pack a surprising amount of punch for being such a small enemy. See, I almost took a hit there. And if you see that the pods aren't dead, but they're just sitting there without their tentacle exposed, you can actually shoot the pod to get the tentacle to pop up, and that will save you quite a bit of ammo instead of just having to shoot the body. So you see I just did that there. This one too, there was no tentacle. I shot it, tentacle popped up, cut the tentacle off, and the enemy died. Here's another example. I don't know if they have like a forward-facing field of vision and that's why they're not spawning, but whatever the case is, once you clean up all these enemies, the room is going to be clear. There is a store in this room. There's a stasis recharge in the back across those little bridges. So make sure you go to the store, sell off anything you don't need. You just saw I sold a semiconductor and a couple of stasis recharges. Still up to almost 100,000 credits, so I don't need to worry about burning med packs or anything like that. There's a couple or 4 wall lockers in the back next to the stasis recharge that you can raid for additional equipment. And then once you're satisfied, you've cleaned everything up, we're going through the door between the 2 wall huggers, and we're going to be going through this sort of tunnel tube thing. Only a couple of enemies to fight right now. One of them is going to be this black jumping or darker jumping enemy. Its moves and attacks are the same as your standard lighter one, but it does more damage, takes more damage, and is all around just a tougher opponent. Once he's dead, you're going to continue straight on, follow your waypoint indicator like I just showed. There are a couple of boxes floating around in this area that you can grab. Again, you should have enough credits that you don't need to worry about scavenging every last piece of equipment, but then again, every little bit helps. So as you advance down the tunnel, you're going to have another lurker come flying out. I didn't even bother trying to hit the tentacles. I just used the pulse rifle to attack him until he died. We're going to continue down this path past a couple of fans, and eventually you'll get to this room, or the end of this room, that has a stasis recharge, a couple of supply boxes, and a switch that you need to use your kinesis to activate. Once you do that, the fans are going to start. You're going to make your way back the way you came, use your stasis to stop the fan, or slow down the fans. You're going to see a bunch of stuff flying around, and you're going to see the dead bodies of the enemies who fought flying around. But there's actually a couple of new enemies that are coming at you too, so don't lose sight of them. It's 2 lurkers, I believe. I killed one there. This one did not want to die, and I got surprised by a jumping type enemy. So I try to stasis him as I run by to buy myself some time, and I get so sidetracked with the jumping enemy that I lose sight of the lurker, and I end up getting hit by the lurker again. So, like I've said earlier in this chapter guide and in several of the other guides, don't be afraid to use stasis. Stasis is your friend. I don't know what I was trying to do there. I was trying to walk by him because I thought he was dead, I think. But you could see that the stasis ran out on that lurker. He posted up and was shooting at me with his ranged attack. And again, because I wasn't using stasis, I ended up taking a few hits. Thankfully, he dropped a med pack, so I could burn a medium med pack since I just picked one up. Use stasis on this fan blade so you can get by it, and then jump right back to where we began. There's a large med pack. I don't know if it'll always be a large med pack, but I think every time I've played through, that wall locker is always a large med pack. Alright, so once we're back in this room where the 2 wall huggers are, we get to face a brute, and this is a brute of a brute. He is a tougher version, similar to the one that killed Hammond. I believe his name is Hammond, in chapter 8 or 9. And it's the same rules apply. If he's running at you, aim for the shoulders, use stasis to slow him down. Once he hunkers into his defensive position, circle around behind him, and you can see I just laid into him with the pulse rifle. Just kept the finger on the trigger and just kept shooting him. There are a lot of pillars that you can use here for cover. These things are strong and fairly quick, but they do not turn very well. So you can see I circled around this pillar here. Tried to hit him with stasis, hit the pillar instead. Again, shooting him in the arm, he's going to hunker back down. So I'm circling around behind him. I pulled out my plasma cutter to try to chop off his arm. So I'm aiming for the shoulder joint, thinking that it would cut his arm off, but it didn't. So it just killed him, which is fine. He dropped a power node, picked that up. Sometimes he'll drop a semiconductor that you can sell. This time he dropped a node. Whatever, not a big deal. Go back to the store. We sell off everything we don't need. I buy up a bunch more pulse rounds. Go back into the store because I believe I buy more pulse rounds to top up my inventory. I mean, why not? Plenty of med packs on hand. Might as well top up the rest of my inventory with ammunition. So now that this room is clear, we're going to raise the 2 bridges, move our marker through the bridges into the second or third, I think it's actually the third airlock room, and I think this is the last airlock room. Activate the control panel, you'll drop the door behind you, it'll open the door in front of you, and then we're out. Oh, nope, one more room, sorry. This room, there's no enemies, but there are a lot of supplies around the edges of the room. If you might not have room for in your inventory for everything. As you're going to see here, I actually see my inventory's full. I take a couple of shots with the pulse rifle just so I can reload and clear up a little space in my inventory to grab that large med pack. Because a large med pack's more important than 3 shots with the pulse rifle, I guess. Lift the bridge up, move your marker through. You can see I've literally grabbed everything in this room. My inventory is completely maxed out at this point, so we're doing good. You're in the last, this is the last airlock, I believe. Yes, okay. So activate the control panel, and now we're back outside. And over to the right where you come out, there is a bunch of supplies, a couple of dead bodies. I take and I launch the bodies off the edge just in case there is a reanimator enemy. Couldn't remember if there was or not. You're going to have a bit of a fight right here. You can see I've got 3 of these smashing tentacles, so you don't want to advance down that walkway yet. I was getting shot at by a lurker that was up on a wall by a vent, and I did not realize that the other enemies had spawned in yet. So we have one of these fast twitch, or these, I don't know, speedy necromorphs running around, and we're going to actually fight a couple of them. There's a couple of lurkers here, so not a really bad fight. There's not a lot of room to maneuver because you can't go down that walkway yet because you will get destroyed by the tentacles. So same standard fare. I don't use my stasis here. I probably could have to buy myself a little bit more time. In between enemies, you can shoot at these tentacles, the yellow weak spot, to try to clear them out. You can see I'm doing that. Pulse rifle does not have a lot of recoil at this point, so you're pretty good for just laying into them when they're not smashing, so to speak. When they're upright, that yellow spot doesn't move around all that much, so you can really hit them even from a distance. You can see I cleaned out the enemies. There's still one lurker on the wall. It's that same first one. He didn't move for whatever reason, so I'm going to clean him up, grab all the supplies that I can. Since I burned through some pulse rifle ammo, I'm just going to top off on that. I'm just checking to see what I have left, and decided that I was going to make room for that last bit of ammo. There's a couple more enemies that come in. One came in behind me, again, was not expecting that, so I got jumped. Thankfully, our health is upgraded to the point that we could take a hit or two, even on impossible, without dying, because as you can see, I took 2 shots there before I decided to use stasis and slow things down. So take out these 2 enemies, and I'm going to burn a large med pack here just to top off my health, and grab what's left of the pulse rifle ammo. And at this point, you are ready to start moving the marker all the way down this walkway. Use your kinesis, drag it down. I thought I heard an enemy, so I was looking behind me because I thought I was going to get jumped. All the way down to the end, then you can activate the control panel, and then you have a few enemies that are going to come at you. I'm not really trying to kill them here. I was more worried about just occupying the lurker so it didn't use its range attack. And once the marker emits that pulse, it's going to kill the enemies in the area. Like, I think it actually kills the rest of the remaining necromorphs. Because I don't think, except for the boss at the end, that you end up fighting any more necromorphs. So you come into this room, you get locked in, there's some dialogue and a cutscene that you need to sit through. There's not a whole lot to say at this point. Yeah. There's just sitting here watching you get betrayed again. And, yep. And this is sped up to 3 times normal speed, so this is quite a long cutscene. So I guess during this time, I'll preface the fight that's coming up against the hive mind. It's a very easy fight, even on Insane. I was actually really disappointed. Mind you, this isn't the first time I played through on Insane, but I was actually really disappointed by how simple the hive mind fight was for what this game is. The game itself was quite challenging until you played through it a few times and kind of experienced everything and knew how the mechanics worked. But the hive mind boss just was a real letdown for me. But anyway, when we fight the hive mind, there's going to be a bunch of yellow spots we need to shoot, just like on the giant tentacles that we fought throughout the game. And that's about all you need to know. It's really simple. So as you progress down this hallway, it's the only way that you can go. There is a room with a ton of supplies in it. Top off with whatever you can. I come to the store, and I'm just going to check. You can see my inventory. I have a ton of med packs. That's why I slowed it down right now. I sold off a couple of med packs because I knew I wasn't going to need all of them. And to free up a little bit of room in my inventory, I switched over to the shop, and I'm going to fill up on pulse rounds because the pulse rifle is my preferred weapon for fighting the hive mind. Its high rate of fire means that even when you get grabbed and you're flipped upside down, which messes with your controls, you have plenty of ammo to fire at it. So here you can see I got plenty of stacks, a plasma cutter, plenty of pulse rifle, and plenty of health packs. So we are just about ready to go. We're going to come out of this room. We're right back where we started the level. There's a box here for more ammunition. There's a few boxes you can grab with your kinesis. I thought I had topped off my ammo. Apparently I hadn't, but this tops off everything. You can see there was still full, or there was still ammo remaining on that pickup, and my inventory was completely full. So we get a little bit of a cutscene watching her, I can't even remember her name, but seeing her finally get killed. And now we fight the Grave Mind. Where is he? There he is. So the tentacle wraps around, kind of trapping you in this one area, which is okay. There's plenty of room. The big thing you need to know is strafe side to side. The first part of the fight is fairly simple. He's got I believe it's 5 weak points around its mouth that you need to shoot. It might be 6, actually. Nope, it's 5. So you can take out a couple of them just without needing to do anything special. Once you take out 2 of them, though, you're going to want to slow down and kind of not stop, but spread your damage out across the remaining nodes. So I just took one out. It exploded. And you can see I'm working my way across, shooting. I shot at the top one first, then the left top, then I popped the right top one. And now I'm sort of shooting at each of these in turn to weaken it. And the reason you want to do that is because after you take out 3 of the nodes, one of the tentacles is going to grab you and hang you upside down. As I was saying earlier, it really messes with your ability to aim because it completely inverts the controls. So if you damage these yellow nodes first, before you get flipped over, it'll take a minimal amount of shots to get them to explode. So as you can see, I'm flipped over and I'm just laying on the trigger because if I happen to cross over a node, I want it to be a hit. So I'm basically shooting and using where the shots hit the hive mind as tracer rounds, so I know how to adjust my shots. You see I just blew up the 4th one, and now there's 5. So it took barely any hits at that point to get those to explode, and that is the benefit of taking your time and spacing your damage out across all of the yellow weak points rather than just focusing and blowing up one at a time. So now we're on to what I call the second part of this fight. This part is, again, it's fairly straightforward, but what you want to do and what you're going to see me do is continuously strafe left and right. The hive mind, I might say grave mind, I mean hive mind. The hive mind is going to smash its tentacles down. You see I didn't move very fast enough there, but you'll see one smash, and then once it smashes, just slowly start walking to the other side. So if you're moving to the left and the tentacle comes down, once it comes down, start moving to the right. After it does 3 to 4 smashes, you'll see the hive mind sort of rear up and open up its chest where it has the remaining weak points. And then you can unload on those weak points and blow them up one at a time. There's no need to space out your damage during this section of the fight. Just shoot the same weak spot until it explodes. So as you can see here, I'm just demonstrating this whole, I kind of wait until I see the tentacle about to smash, I start strafing to the left. I don't know how I didn't get hit there, but I didn't. And then as soon as it smashed, I went to the right. Now I'm just alternating my strafing pattern so the tentacle doesn't hit me. Surprisingly, if you mess up, as long as your health is upgraded, these tentacles don't do a ton of damage for being a smash attack like that. And you can actually survive a couple of hits, I think, before you die. So you saw me take one hit, you saw me take another hit right there, and my health is only at maybe 2/3. So it's definitely not a one-hit kill, which for being the end boss is surprising. You got plenty of med packs if you've been following this guide, so go ahead and use them. There's no need not to. This is it. This is the end of the fight, and that was the last weak point. So the hive mind is no more. I'm going to come over here and smash this box and grab some ammo because I got to wait for the hive mind to die. It takes its sweet time dying. Oh, also, make sure you're not right at the front of the area when it dies. I can't remember if it'll kill you by falling on you, but for some reason I think it will. I can't confirm that or not, but I always make sure I stay back just to be safe. Once the hive mind is dead, we go back onto our ship. We get a cutscene. You've basically finished the game on impossible difficulty. Sit back and enjoy. I am going to stop the commentary at this point. I will say that I had a blast making this. I love this game. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide and the game. And if you like these guides, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, Hammer Bros Gaming, for additional content like this. Thank you all very much. Enjoy your achievement, and happy hunting on any future achievements you try to get. This is Blades of God. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.